Oh my God.
Today is one for the books.
Welcome back, you guys. Episode 54.
Jesus.
How is life? But before we get into that, we have to do the introductions. I am Syn and Tam. I thought a cup of coffee was going to help my life. It has not. I have been up early yesterday, early today, when I would normally be letting my body rest until I felt like getting up.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to move the rest of my stuff out of Tamara's garage.
Mm-hmm.
And Heaux was playing with my motherfucking time. Cargo van, I reserved a whole fucking week ago. And these monkeys, I get there and my reservation, they cannot fulfill it. And then try to tell me the only available cargo van was in Woodstock, Georgia. For people who are unfamiliar with Woodstock is, it's in butt fucking country. That's where it is. Okay?
Not to offend our Woodstock listeners.
I'm sorry if you're from Woodstock, but you will understand. First of all, I live in Alpharetta. I do not tell people I live in Atlanta because Alpharetta is not close to Atlanta. It's not. Alpharetta is about 20 minutes away from Atlanta. So if we are speaking of where the airport is, because everyone who knows about Atlanta knows where the airport is, right? Yep. I live 45 minutes away from the airport, 45 minutes north. They wanted me to go an additional 30 minutes to go get this cargo van. And then I had to go to her side of town, which I live 25 minutes away from her. So tack that on. From Woodstock is about 30, 45 minutes from her also. So they wanted me to drive around the world in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And we still had to move. Listen, it wasn't that we were moving a ton of stuff. Because we weren't, but I have lots of books. So they were heavy as hell. Okay. We had to move a dresser. I'm worn out. The mosquitoes attacked us.
Yeah.
And then her garage, we were trying to figure out where this water done came from. Thankfully, it did not destroy my art. It did get some of my books. I haven't figured it out. I will figure it out later once I sort through them. Hopefully, please keep your fingers crossed it did not fuck up my comic books. Because I'm going to be pissed if it did. Because I'm going to just have to... Let me say this. My comic books, the single editions, if those are fucked up, I'm going to cry. My graphic novels, you can replace those.
Yeah. But
single editions... Can you replace them? Yes, but if you have really old ones, it's very expensive to replace them.
I was about to say that. We can't forget the Rats of Nim. That
I was getting to that. So we're trying to figure out why it looks like there's rat shit all over the place in the garage. What the fuck is going on? I have clothes, and this hurts me to my heart. All my Oakland hoodies gone. The rats chewed holes through my bags and made a nest in my clothes. They were eating hair products like rat. What the fuck, rats? Why are you eating they were eating cleaning products like these. She just said the rats of Nim. These was the motherfucking rats. These rats were eating everything in the garage.
Yes.
Okay? These motherfuckers got hold. I don't know if the Harry Potter books are truly evil. I'm questioning it now because these motherfuckers tore up my Lord of the Rings books. They ate the corners of my Lord of the Rings book. My Harry Potter books, unfucking touched. That's another.
There's some magic on them books.
Yes.
There's magic on them books.
They chewed up my astrology birthday book, chewed it to hell. Okay? They didn't chew up my Bibles, though.
There's some magic on them books.
Yeah. Magic is real, y'all. Anyway, I said this to say me and Tara are tired as fuck, but I do want to say this. This is how you know that somebody is really your fucking friend. I know she helped me because I'm disabled, but whatever. She's for real my fucking friend because on top of this, it was 92 degrees outside. I have never seen myself sweating. So my arms were sweating.
Yeah.
I was glistening like I had baby oil on. It was sweat.
It was a lot.
But this is how we know Tamara loves me. I forgot my deodorant too. She said I didn't stink.
You didn't.
I believe her. But
because if you had, it would have been on my face.
Tamara carries aerosol.
Yeah.
Deodorant, and she would have been like, here you go, friend.
I suggest everybody carry a little spray or a little roll on in their purse, just because you never know the times that you might get a little musty.
So excuse me if I look a little space cadetish. I'm tired as shit. My kid has a social life, and she had me way out in butt fuck Lawrenceville. I'm sorry if any of our listeners are from Lawrenceville. Lawrenceville is a good 45 minutes from my house. I've just been driving so much this weekend, and I'm tired. I'm so tired. I want to cry.
Yeah, it's been a weekend.
It is. So I'm Syn Delano, and I'm tired.
I have my Tam Joyner. I'm also tired. In accordance to all of our moving, I also fell twice. I'm not going to go into detail.
Sorry.
But I was on the ground twice in one day. I had junk people come to the garage before Syn got there, and I pretty much chucked like 12 years of my life. Like just threw it away, junked it. And I know that some people are like, are you upset? Are you hurt? And I was like, it's sometimes we hold on to things for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was more like a cleansing than anything. So once it was out of my sight and it was gone, I was good to go. I wasn't upset about it. It was just, it's my past. And so now I can create new memories and do the things that I want to do without holding on to the old things that may have been weighing me down. So yesterday was good, even though it was another 97 degrees outside.
Oh my God.
And I just think I was just musty yesterday, just because I put on deodorant and because it was so hot, I was just musty. And the poor boys that were removing the junk, I had water for them. I was ready, but they were just musty. But I did.
They were musty too.
Yeah, they were musty too.
It was musty together.
I mean, but they have been moving all day, so they had like a whole day's worth of funk because that was their job. Like, so they were just sweaty, and it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And I felt like the little truck they was in didn't have no air conditioning, but that's another story. But one of the things that I did find in the garage that I was going to toss the box, and then it's wild because I was going to toss the box, but it fell open. And do you remember when I used to get those sports figurines? Like I used to collect the sports figurines.
The bobbleheads?
No, they weren't bobbleheads, but they were like, I don't want to call them action figures, but they're like action figures, but they're...
I don't remember this.
Okay, so when my sister used to work at GameStop.
Yes, I do remember this.
And I found them. So the boxes look janky, but the figurines are still intact. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like I have to take them out of the container and like put them in a display case.
Yeah.
Because the boxes just look hella janky now. But I have
probably the rats.
Yeah, probably the rats. I have Allen Iverson, a Dr. J, LeBron James when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow.
Michael Vick with the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh.
And
Ron Mexico.
And LaDainian Tomlinson, who used to play for the San Diego.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
San Diego Chargers. Well, when they were the San Diego Chargers, now they're the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
So I have those. So I actually want to get more of those because I really like those. But now I just have to kind of get a display case and put them together. But aside from my sore tailbone, the bruise on my knee, the scrapes on my arm, and the mosquito bites on my hand. Hi, I'm good.
We're here.
We're here.
Without further ado, I want to talk about how the world is ghetto.
Okay.
And at first, I was going to talk about how the United States of America ate shit for being the only motherfuckers to vote that food was a human. They said food is not a human right. Like, I'm tired of Earth and the government telling us that aliens exist. Like, I really don't fucking care. Like, they can kick it. They might want to leave because look at this terrible. Like, I want them to start a riot so that.
Can they just take me with them?
I mean, you could probe me. At least I can get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
So, but then I was like, I'm not going to go into depth with that because I found something that was so fucking ghetto, Tamra. I couldn't believe I was seeing it.
Look at him like this.
I have heard of all kinds of fraud related to like cards, right? Mm-hmm. So check fraud used to be the thing back in the day. Yeah. But I want to say maybe 20 years ago, it became debit card fraud. Right. So what people were doing was they was getting people debit card numbers and transferring people's bank account information to gift cards.
Yes.
And so people were stealing people's money out of their bank accounts. I had experienced unemployment money fraud. So they froze my unemployment when I got laid off during the pandemic. They froze it because they said somebody was trying to steal my money. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, when I filed for unemployment, when I got laid off, these motherfuckers took forever to give me my money. Mm-hmm. I didn't get my first payout until the first week of July. I was laid off May 1st. Now, if not for the grace of cashing out my 401k, right, and my severance pay, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, they gave it to me all of May, all of June, and the first week of July, they gave to me. And then they didn't give it. They were supposed to give it to you all in one lump sum. They broke it up. How fucking dare you? Anyway, in the middle of that, they froze it because they said somebody was trying to steal my money. And the reason why is because now they give you your unemployment. Sometime back in the day, they used to do direct deposit, right, or they would give you a check. Now they put it on these debit cards issued from Bank of America so they can track your money. I swear the government just be in people business unnecessarily because we can't track what the fuck they be doing with our tax money. Never. But they want to track everything we do.
All the time.
Right? So now we're getting to the real ghetto. And it's so ghetto, I didn't even write it down because I didn't want Tamara to see it. I wanted her to be just as shocked as you all are.
So afraid of what she's about to say, y'all.
How foreign thieves are scamming Americans on welfare. This is about EBT fraud, y'all. These motherfuckers are stealing people's food stamp money. And this is happening in LA, Los Angeles. So foreigner, listen. So now they have your EBT card is kind of like a debit card too, right? Yeah. Back in the day, your EBT card, it was obvious it was an EBT card. Now it kind of looks like another debit card, right? I'm gonna give you an example of what these motherfuckers are doing. A man using the Wells Fargo ATM in Panorama City seemed at first like the thousands of other Californians who withdrew their welfare benefits at the beginning of each month. But after taking out cash the morning of March 1st, the man reached into his pocket for a second debit card and withdrew more money. He then whipped out another card and another. Within 10 minutes, he used 15 cards and withdrew nearly $3,000. First of all, food is expensive. And if you have an EBT card, you definitely need food. And this motherfucker is stealing
your money.
Stealing people's money. His alias, Giuseppe Crisante. Okay. He had 21 bogus debit cards in his pockets. He was a 47-year-old Romanian national. So the Romanians stealing money in LA. But here is where it gets really ghetto,
I
y'all.
had a super racist thought when you said that.
Keep it to yourself. We're not doing that today.
I'm keeping it to myself.
About 900,000 was reimbursed to victims of benefits card fraud in 2021. Last year, it skyrocketed to 21.1 million. Through June of this year, the country has paid back $25 million. The ghettoest thing about all, I mean, this is ghetto. It's ghetto. But what was most ghetto was authorities arrested a woman after she bought $158,299.42 of mostly Red Bull and Monster Energy drink purchases at Smart and Final in Riverside County between October and January. She was 24 years old, used 73 different cloned cards for her purchases, and the food benefits belong to people in New York, Florida, and California. How fucking ghetto. And then the reason we have the world is the ghetto is because the media will lead you to believe that the ghetto is some shit that, oh, those are niggas doing that. Those are niggas, no. Mexicans, and Asians being ghetto, right?
No.
If you notice, all of the ghetto shit that me and Tamara have talked about week after week after week, have any of our people been the culprits of the ghetto? White people be ghetto too. Listen, I know some people be like, Romanians are not white. They are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. When you are on the street and you see them, they're white presenting. Okay.
Yeah, they are.
This is truly some ghetto shit that you would steal from people in need and then go buy Monster and Red Bull drinks?
Yeah, that's just like, but $150,000 worth of Red Bull.
Like, was you intending to retail sell these?
That's what I was about to say. I was like, did you work at the club? Like, was it like for the club? Like, were you buying it for
ghetto?
That's a lot.
It's ghetto. I mean, the only way Tamara can top this is if something in Florida is happening.
Of course it is. I am every week. I think we're 6 weeks in a row where I have
ghetto. Florida is ghetto. Is your segment.
My segment should be Florida is ghetto. And I would like to, again, Bugs Bunny, cut that bitch off. So what I would like to talk about today is how leprosy is making a comeback.
Oh God.
But you know, leprosy is a disease that is curable, like because it's been around for a long time. And if it happens to you, you can get meds and you can get it taken care of. But it's just not something that we hear about. And then, you know, we've heard about it in places all over the world. But now leprosy, Florida is the hot spot. 20% of new cases of leprosy are in Central Florida. For those of you who don't know what leprosy is caused by a bacteria. It's also known as Hansen's disease, but the disease affects the skin, the peripheral nerves, mucosal surfaces of the upper respiratory tract and eyes. Leprosy is transmitted via droplets from the nose and mouth during close and frequent contact with untreated cases.
Cover your mouth, please.
You know, the people in Florida wasn't even wearing no mask during the COVID. So, you know, during the leprosy, they ain't wearing no mask, but they're breathing and spreading it like the wildfires down there in Florida. So, they have now issued, in Florida, they have all these travel advisories for the Black people, for the gay people, for the immigrants. Like, be careful when you travel to Florida. Well, now we're gonna give you a health advisory. Leprosy is on the move. So be careful, Florida.
So nasty.
Gross.
Where did that old ass disease come from?
I mean, it's never really left, but it's
I
the
know.
rarity in people. But 20% of new cases are in Central Florida. Baby, no, I can't do it.
Be safe.
Yeah, don't go.
To say to that.
Just don't go.
Enough ghetto shit. We can talk about what's in our speaker box.
Yes.
What have you been listening to this week?
Sunita laughed at my first musical choice.
Not because of a bad way, it was just random.
If any of you guys have ever seen the movie Brown Sugar, you've heard the sample, Norman Connor's Invitation. It's the song that Mos Def rapped over in Brown Sugar. But you hear the original, because when you hear the original, Mos Def song was kind of up tempo, but the original, it's a slow song.
Yes.
So when you hear it, people don't really realize it's like a at the end of the club, they playing the lights about to come on, you slow jam. So people don't really know that. I went old school. I was having dramatic R&B moments again. If anybody know, my sister knows about my dramatic R&B moments because I'll be in the kitchen enacting a tune that I am listening to. So that's what a dramatic R&B moment is. I'll have my hands in the air, the whole nine. So Let It Burn by Jasmine Sullivan was, because that song just has it's always been right here for me because, come on, Jasmine, I can't even sing the lyrics because I'll just be like, ready or not, it's coming for you. And my God, why did I forget the third song that easily?
Erica.
Oh, okay, y'all. Erykah Badu. I Want You, Erykah Badu. I think that's appropriate, seeing as how she was behaving with John Boyega on stage.
John Boyega got something.
But here's the thing: is that
I just don't want to say it's je ne sais quoi. It's just it's something.
It's it was funny because that Clone Tyrone came out.
Yeah.
And if you watch the movie all the way through, Erykah Badu was singing Tyrone at the end, but she changed the lyrics. So she did it specifically for the movie. So that was the whole thing with her and John Boyega. But what was really funny is that I think it's Strong Black Lead on Instagram. It's a Netflix thing. It's through Netflix. Yeah.
Yes.
And they did one on Rep Your Flag with John Boyega. And my sister was so overwhelmed by his whole name because he said his whole name, and it was a very long Nigerian name.
Okay.
Like, so she was like, wow, I just didn't know his name was that long. And I was like, yeah, his name is pretty long. But it's just funny to hear when he was talking about, the music and the food and all that other stuff. So like, I've always liked John Boyega since Attack the Block. Like that, he was my favorite in Attack the Block. So I'm super excited for all the stuff that he's doing. But Erykah Badu said he was fine. He's a good looking man.
He is. He's like, I don't know how people are gonna feel about this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I feel like he's like Denzel Washington
Jr.
Yes, like more than Denzel's son.
Yes.
John's
I can see that.
Both their names are John,
yes,
right?
But I can see that. I can see that though. I can see that.
John Washington sounds like his dad, and this isn't to take anything away from him. I think John is a great actor.
Yeah.
But he's in a different lane than his dad.
Yeah, than his dad.
I can understand why people make the reference that John Boyega is like the second coming of Denzel.
Yeah.
He's like
he's good. He's really,
I just love watching him.
Yeah, he's really, really good at what he does. Like, hands down, he's got it.
Okay, we were supposed to be talking about music.
Yes,
we got enthralled with John.
Yes, sorry, John.
What I've been listening to, Pick Your Poison is it Blast?
Yes.
I'm confused when people throw X's in their names.
It's Blast.
Like, please just spell it regular. But Blast and Grandmaster Vic. I love Pick Your Poison.
Okay.
It's a great song. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. This is a throwback. You remember CRS?
Vaguely.
Us Placers.
I don't know the song.
You don't remember the song?
I don't. I'm gonna have to listen
Pharrell
to
was
it.
on it.
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think Pharrell's on it, and I think Bon Iver
Okay.
is on it. Bon Iver sounds very much like what's that depressive white boy? I love his music though.
I know exactly I know who you're gonna say.
He was on the Spidey soundtrack.
Why is
y'all know who the fuck I'm talking about?
Yes,
Blake.
Yes,
James Blake.
James Blake.
So is it Bon Iver sounds a little bit like James Blake on there, but this is an old ass fucking song. Us Placers came out, I want to say early 2000s.
I feel like it did.
Maybe mid 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a great song. Listen to it. I feel like it didn't it come out around Mr. Me Too came out.
You think of Mr. Me Too.
Yeah. But anyway, great song. And last but not least, I've never heard this song before. I'd be feeling like I have heard everything that Mac Miller has ever rapped on. Excuse me. And then some song comes out the blue when I'm listening to my radio on Apple Music. But MC Melody, I'd never heard of her. But she has a song with Mac Miller called Genius. Exquisite.
I don't think I've ever heard that either.
I never heard of her before.
Okay, now I have to look that
And
one up.
obviously she's not like some brand new artist because Mac Miller been gone a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a hot minute, but it's been a minute nevertheless.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Okay.
It's really good. So that's what we've been listening to. But without further ado, let's get into episode 54. Heaux is life.
I just, even when you say it, it makes me giggle because I feel like I can feel the people getting offended when you say it.
I am sure every time I say it, I'm sure there are women who get offended because why is she advocating for being a hoe? And here's my thing. I advocate for women to be able to do whatever the fuck it is that they want to do with their bodies, whatever they're comfortable with doing. If it is not harming themselves, if it is not harming others, you should mind your fucking business.
Yeah, it's so hard to.
But and the thing is, Heaux is life bothers men a lot, and it bothers even more women. And I think it's weird because why do you desire to have that much control over somebody else's body?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, but even then, I feel like it's kind of like the slut walk that.
Oh my God, stop! Because I was thinking the same thing. People don't really understand what the slut walk
that Amber Rose did.
But I just people don't if people understood the origin of the slut walk, and then they would understand the Heaux is life thing if they understood the origin of the slut walk. Because most people think, why they got people out there walking and they calling themselves slut. That's not what it was about. The slut walk originated because anytime I think it began in the UK years ago, when what happened was that when women would try to get men prosecuted for rape or sexual assault, they would always, as a part of interrogation, it would always come up about what the woman was wearing. How was she dressed? Was she in a place that she shouldn't have been as a woman alone with a man, or she all these things that really don't have anything to do with why did the man sexually assault her? Ask him why he is behaving in such a way,
right? And
not what the woman has. So what they did was they started a slut walk, and basically they would have on whatever, but they would be like, they would hold up signs like a 98-year-old grandma got sexually assaulted. What did she have on? Like it would have, they would have signs like that. Because that has nothing to do, sexual assault has nothing to do with where I am, what I am wearing. If I smiled at you, that don't mean I want you to come over and attack me. Like, so it was all these things. And so that's how the slut walk originated. I think that I appreciated what Amber Rose did for bringing attention to it in LA, but I feel like Amber Rose is such a polarizing person that people took her trying to promote the slut walk and made it completely something that it wasn't because she was affiliated with it. And
but this goes into why I say Heaux is life,
right,
is because even with her, people are just like, oh my God, she shouldn't be representing anything that you're supportive of. But if we even look at, okay, we know why Amber Rose is famous, right? She's famous for the men that she has dated.
Right.
And that she's been married to and that she's had children with.
Right.
But that's her choice. That's her life. My thing, why I say Heaux is life, and I feel like it's the same thing about like kind of embodying something to take the power away from the people who intend to use it as a negative thing.
Right.
And for people who are just like, yeah, but about that, if you say nigga and you're a Black person, you are doing the same thing. Because that word started out extremely derogatory. It is still used in very derogatory ways against people of color, specifically Black people. Mm-hmm. So as Black people, there are some Black people who are just like, why would you ever use that word? It's so negative. But this is not a first in sexual history or history, period, where we take a phrase or we take a term and we make it our own to take the power back for it. So when I say Heaux is life, and I say this all the time to my friends, don't get me wrong, I have some friends who be tapping into respectability politics and they think that being this way as a woman is okay, but being this way is unacceptable. And the first thing I usually be like is Heaux is life. If she want to bend it over and twerk at 43, she could do whatever the fuck she want to do. Yep. Like, get out of her ass crack. Why don't you take the stick out of your uptight ass and maybe you can bend it over and twerk too. Right. But see, there are lots of women who'll be like, they did it when they were younger. At this age, you shouldn't be doing this, this, and this. And it's like, who are you to tell me what I should be doing? Why don't you mind your fucking business? And
that's free.
It is. But I feel like for some women, they're not comfortable being that open, that free with themselves. And so they're projecting. Yeah. I'm not comfortable doing this. You shouldn't be comfortable either. And that is why that is like my mantra to the day I die. I'm an old retired hoe. Okay. So I don't be out here in these streets doing hella hoe shit. I don't. But I do support women, regardless of the age, and whatever you want to do with your body, because it's your body. You have to make those decisions yourself. Yep. You also have to live with whatever decision you make. But nobody should be shaming you, especially other women. Right. And this is why even when I'm not joking with my friends, I'll be like, Heaux is life, bitch. Because when I was doing my young hoe shit, I had friends and I knew people who was doing just as much hoe shit as me, but these motherfuckers was acting like they was out here white as fucking bleach.
Oh, of course.
Like, you'll do your hoe shit behind closed doors and condemn other women because look at her, she's tacky, or she's just all out in the open. And it's like, but bitch, you was doing hoe shit with us. Right. And this is why I feel like I want to take some of the shame away, Tamara, from just boys and men don't get treated this way about.
Not at all.
Just living, just exploring life. If you get a booty call at 3:00 in the morning, you go over and you got the slut walking back to the crib. Or
walk of shame.
Right. That thing, the whole walk of shame, that's never been applied to men. Yeah. Or boys.
But you and I have had this conversation about my decision as a young woman to treat men the way that men treat women. And you always said that I made this decision when I was 16. It was It was based in I was tired of getting my ass grabbed in high school. So I became an ass grabber. And that was just it was I never did it frequently. I just did it enough for it to annoy the shit out of guys. And when they would be like, why do you do that? I was like, why do you do it? Like I would kind of throw it back in their face, like, you do it to us, so I'm gonna do it to you. And then they would be like, and I know you're like tit for tat. We have had this conversation.
But I'm gonna tell you why I've said this, and why I've said it to some women too. It crosses you're walking a fine line of becoming a misandrist.
Right.
And I know people are just like, that isn't real. It doesn't exist. But my thing is, we don't have to become our oppressors.
Correct.
To teach them a lesson.
Correct.
What I will say is, get the fuck out of my business, bitch.
Yes.
And go find something else to do. Like, I don't have to mistreat you.
Right.
And this isn't me being self-righteous and saying that I haven't been a fucking dick to some guys because I felt they deserved it.
Right.
I just, like, fuck you. I don't have to be kind to you. I don't have to treat you, give you no kind of consideration or compassion because you're mistreating me.
Right.
Like, I have been that person. Now, have I turned into, I will be compassionate to people who mistreat me? No. Absolutely
That's
not.
a no.
But I don't have to fucking deal with you.
Right.
And I think it's a lesson we have to learn at some point. Everybody goes through it, right? Like, you're admitting this is a place of growth, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you're not still there.
No, because I was 16 or 17, and I just kind of had it. And so that was me, like, trying to flip things on their head at the time. Again, it wasn't something I did. I just did it in high school because I was just sick of them fucking boys when I was in high school. And so, of course, they left me alone. I'm not, and unfortunately, I can't say that the same for my counterparts, but they left me alone because they knew that I wasn't. First of all, I wasn't fucking with you, and that I'm gonna get you back, like, kind of shit, because that was what I was on at the time. So no, I don't do tit for tat. Again, I would rather you just get the fuck from out of my space, and just leave me the hell alone, just in general. But I just feel like a lot of times, especially coming from the women who hate the whole hoe is life thing, is that those are the women a lot of times who subscribe to the philosophy that if you stay chaste and do these things, that the man will love you, kind of situation. And so when they see other women out there living their best life, hoeing it up, then and get chose, then they're like, but what about me?
But who started this lie that you can't turn a hoe into a housewife and nobody's choosing hoes? Men started that.
Yeah, y'all choosing hoes every day.
Every day. And I'm not mad. Like, I've heard people be like, how she end up married and with a baby, and I'm over here,
I've had those
being good and modest, and
I've had those conversations.
That's you.
I've had those conversations.
He didn't want you.
Yeah, I've had those conversations with my friends, and I'm just kind of like, that ain't the one for you. That he ain't the one for you.
Why would you want to be with him? He don't want you.
Right. He's not for you.
Be with people who you want. But see, this is the weird thing, and I have to take it back to when I first started having sex, because, and if you want, women to follow your lead, boys, you want girls to follow your lead, give them a good example to follow, right?
Correct.
And I'm doing good in quotations because I just feel like if you want to explore your sexuality, whatever end of the spectrum you're on, or wherever you are, like, on the spectrum, you should be able to do that. Yeah. This is your life, right? So if you want to see what 100 dicks feel like, I just feel like, why should anybody stop you, right? Because nobody puts those parameters on boys and men. In fact, it's encouraged for them to sow their wild oats, right?
Yes.
But who are they sowing? You have to be sowing your wild oats with tons of different fucking horses. How do you sow your wild oats with one horse? There's never been the expectation that boys be chaste and modest and stick to one, right? Even in very religious groups that are like, don't fornicate. The boys still date multiple girls at the same time. I grew up with Jehovah's Witness, and you'll hear me reference this a lot. But even in that, yes, we weren't supposed to be having sex before marriage, but the boys would be dating hell of girls who were friends.
No.
That is fucking traumatic for us girls to be taught you are unclean if you have sex before marriage.
Yeah.
But the boys get to date all these different girls. And nobody says anything to them, even though they're breaking all these girls' hearts, right? That are trying to be chaste in Christ.
Right.
Like, I can't have sex before I get married. And these niggas out here doing whatever they want to do, whether they're staying virgins themselves, but just still multiple dating. Girls were not encouraged to multiple date at all. That was you're being a hoe.
Girl, do you remember the blog I wrote about when I went to college and how I lived with a bunch of white girls and they brought home different guys every night, and I was in college pining over one nigga?
What?
Okay.
Hell?
So I wrote this blog. This was many, many moons ago. And it was basically based on like, it was the premise of me starting Black Girls Don't Date.
Okay.
Because I always
it
was the premise of me starting it, because as young black women, we are taught to find a good man, and hold on tight. So it was the whole dating multiple people was never encouraged for me when I was coming up. So when I see young girls dating hella dudes, I'd be like,
yes,
live it, because
Lori Harvey,
yes,
is life.
Because I literally was like trying to find the one good man when I was 17. What I look like looking for one good man at 17. And I lived with these in a dorm room in my dorm, we had suites. So it's 2 people per room. So it's 6 of us in there would be like a living room area in the middle, and then 3 bedrooms. So it's 6 of us that lived in there together. My white counterparts, they was bringing home new niggas every night with new men every night. And I was just in my bed pining over this blue-eyed nigga that I went to college with.
He's a good man, Savannah.
Yes, that never paid me any mind. But so after a while, I was like, what am I doing? And so then I was like, I'm just gonna talk to everybody. And then it was like when I decided that I was gonna just talk to anybody who talked to me, then it was like people literally had a problem with me. And I was like, and the crazy thing about this, I say this all the time, and I'm not ashamed of it. I didn't have any sex when I was in college. I was a virgin when I went to college. Like, I didn't have sex in college. I had sex outside of college when I went home for the summer, but physically.
Thank you for making that classification.
Physically on that campus with those people, I did not.
But Tamara also went to, not saying she couldn't have bumped uglies with what was there.
Yes.
But she did go to a school that did not share as much ethnic diversity as what she brought.
What she's trying to say is I went to a PWI. And I did. And I mean, and the thing is that the Black students there, we were a very close bunch of people. So everybody knew everybody because it was a small group of us. But it was like, I talked to a lot of people. I just, I wasn't touching on folks. I wasn't kissing on people. I was just having fun. Like, but it was like a lot of people had a problem with me just kind of flittering around and having fun. And so I was just kind of like, I probably have been labeled a hoe, and y'all having more sex than me. I'm not having no sex at all.
But that's the crazy thing about it is, even when I had started out saying when I was in high school, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to see what this sex thing is all about. I'm going to test out as much of it as I can. until I just, it's not that big a thing to me. And I was minding my own fucking business, like, oh, he's cute. Okay, he's cute. And I used to hear the rumors, and people would be so off the mark because of how they define hoe,
Yes.
right? And so what was the big thing back in the day when I was in high school was you were a hoe if you suck dick. I didn't suck my first penis until I was 19. I had a boyfriend, he tried to make me do it, and I was like, I'm uncomfortable. He was like, I'm uncomfortable. Well, I couldn't get past the idea that you want me to put something in my mouth that they pee out of.
Yes.
That was very nasty and gross to me,
Yes,
right?
understood.
But in their minds, that was their epitome of hoe, right? And if you were having sex, you had to have been doing that too.
I
right?
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
So I was automatically a hoe to everybody because I was having sex. Now, I didn't go around on a blowhorn like, I'm fucking so-and-so. Like, I kept it cute. Like, it's my business.
But
Why I gotta tell anybody?
Guys never keep it cute.
Of course, guys tell everybody. But guys were actually lying and saying that they had sex with me because they knew other people had.
Right.
So y'all was giving me body counts that didn't even exist.
Love it.
But here's the thing. There were people who were upset at me because I didn't care.
Oh yeah.
And this is why I lean so hard into Ho's life, is because people want you to be shamed.
They do.
They want you to care what they think about what you do in your spare time. And let me tell you something. Are you in that room with me?
No.
Are you participating?
No.
I don't give a fuck what you think.
But I always feel like people who want you to be shamed are the same people that are afraid to be shamed. So so it is, again, what we said, it's projection. It's total and complete projection, because you worried about me not being shamed because if it was you, you would be shamed. I'm not you. We are two different people.
Listen, if I'm doing something that I could possibly feel ashamed for doing, I guarantee you I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because shame doesn't feel good. Even when you know it's something that you shouldn't be shamed for doing, right? But growing up in a very religious household, we were shamed about everything.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
So sex was just one more thing. It was just like, and I mentioned this in another one of the sex episodes, that my dad, he asked me, tell me how many people you had sex with so I can know how big of a hoe you were, and then laughed about it. That hurt my feelings more than anything anyone has ever said to me, because it was just like, damn, my dad is just like every other nigga on the block, on the street, at my school, in the world. Like, you don't value me as a person. Like, you think my value is in my fucking vagina? What if my vagina what if my coochie was broke?
Right.
I don't have no value no more. Like, so for me, I think all of my life experiences have made me lean into Ho's life. You mentioned college.
Yeah.
So Tamara used to always be like, Tamara wanted no parts of like what I call my college period. She was just like, I'm not fooling with y'all. First of all, Tamara's older than me. So I was doing wild shit. When I first met Tamara, how old was I? 21?
I don't even remember that.
I was.
Yeah, okay.
I was 21 when I first met her. She was 27.
Yes, I was 27.
Tamara was just like, you're doing childish shit. I'm finna go kick it with my boyfriend.
Yeah, I just was like,
she never shamed me.
No,
never. She was just like, I don't have time for y'all's incestuous ass relationships, because they were. And I know that word like is probably ringing all kinds of bells, but when you're in college and you hang out with a certain group of people, like, you guys are literally all sleeping together.
Yeah, I was like, it's a bunch of overlap. It's a whole lot of overlap.
Maybe that wasn't your experience, but I had a college experience in Atlanta.
Child.
So the Atlanta University Center consisted of Morehouse, Spelman, and Atlanta Clark University. Okay.
And then back then, Morris Brown.
Yes, I'm sorry. And Morris Brown. And there are other colleges in Atlanta too, where you could fuck with other people. So you had Georgia Tech, and you had Georgia State,
Yeah.
and you had Atlanta Metro,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so everybody literally is sleeping with everybody. I mean, we're young, we're having fun, we're partying. And Atlanta was a different place than it is today. So there were tons of fucking clubs from Roswell all the way down to Old National. Okay. And Old National is past the airport.
Yes.
That was the huge, I'll say Roswell is right next door to Alpharetta, where I am. So you had tons of clubs spanning from the airport up to 30 minutes north of the airport,
the airport,
right? And then you had, you know, the local clubs, which was popping, so you could fuck with local niggas too. Decatur,
baby,
Austell.
It was just clubs.
Name it.
It was clubs everywhere.
Right?
It was
not that many now.
It's not, they have narrowed it down and made it not good. Everybody go to the same club.
And club life was about that life. Like, you go to and we actually danced at the parties, okay? We wasn't going standing around like today. We wasn't going standing around doing nothing. We was getting it lit, okay? Drinking. And of course, with that type of stuff, drinking, doing drugs, dancing, you get bodies start rubbing together, and you know, you get popping after the club.
Correct.
But even in that environment where we all knew we were drinking, we all knew we were doing drugs. I mean, some of us weren't doing drugs, I'm sorry. And some people weren't drinking, but for the most part, most of us, this is what we were doing. We knew we was going home with somebody at the end of the night, right? And it was usually somebody that we knew. And so because I'm leaning into Heaux's life, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do. Now, I wasn't as wild as I was when I was in high school, but I still was about that life. But there were so many other young women my age during that time that they didn't want anyone to know that they were just doing the same whole activities as me. So they would secretly sneak niggas in to their apartment, or you got to leave at this certain time. So nobody sees you. Or they would do the same thing. They didn't want anyone to know where they were going, what they were doing. And I lived kind of like out loud, like, I don't give a fuck, I'm grown. I pay my bills. Who gonna check me, bro? And I remember a guy once saying, he was calling someone I knew a hoe. And I said, why do you call her a hoe? He said, she be sleeping with everybody. Like, that's not cute. And I said, but I sleep with hella people. Like, why is she a hoe and I'm not? And it still doesn't make sense to me to this day, but this is to show you that there are men and boys who feel like there's some power in calling us a hoe and making us feel bad. He said, when I asked him, what's the difference? Because she and I have very similar behavior.
Right.
So what's the difference? And he was just like, I don't know. I guess I just like you.
Well, there.
Now, mind you, I never slept with this guy, but we were friends. And because he wasn't friends with her, she was a hoe.
Right.
So now you see why I say hoe is life, because fuck these motherfuckers. They don't even have like no grounds for like calling women whores. They just do it to make you feel bad. So guess what? I'm going to call myself a whore first.
Right.
Because fuck you.
Completely.
And you saying it doesn't make me feel any type of way, because I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do regardless.
Yeah.
I don't even be hoeing like that these days. And I'm not even gonna say like that. I don't be hoeing at all. And I still be like, I'm an old hoe.
Well, you know, I say that I'm an old hoe all the time. I mean, I be trying at least, but you know.
I support girls and women. And I know some people are like, you support girls having sex? Listen, don't be willfully obtuse, please.
Right.
These children, and when I say children, I'm not talking about 10, 11, 12-year-olds. No, I'm not promoting that. But we're talking about high school age children, right? And then we're talking about you just started college. So you anywhere between 17 and 19, right? You're still a child. And we don't say anything about boys exploring or just having sex. You kind of expect, you as a society, we expect boys to be having sex when they're 16, 17, 18, 19, right?
Right.
Why we don't expect girls to be doing that too?
Yeah.
Because who the fuck are boys have? If everybody's supposed to be heterosexual, right?
Right.
Who are the boys supposed to be having sex with?
I just, it's weird to me that the focus is always on, well, we know why. Because I'm just thinking about all the things going on in the world to control women's bodies. So, I mean, we know what it really is about, but it's always it's always been that thing about we're going to shame the girls. We're always going to shame the girls for whatever it is that they're, and their behavior may be identical to that of their male counterparts, but we're always going to shame the girls. And it's just, I mean, fuck that. Hoe is life. Like, it's whatever.
Yes.
I mean, and I mean, if you, like you said, you grew up in a very religious household or background, but a lot of times that shame carries women into relationships that they should not be in. They stay in abusive spaces that they should not remain in because they have felt some sort of shame for being a girl, for doing things that they quote unquote should not be doing. And so I'm like, fuck that, because you don't have to stay anywhere where you don't feel loved and respected. And I don't give a fuck if you hoeing or not. Like,
yeah, I mean, we had the whole episode about body count, and that is another thing. Women try to keep their numbers low so that they're not considered a hoe. But this also leads to what Tamara just mentioned. They stay in these relationships, or they go back to men who are not good for them because I don't want to be called a hoe, or I don't want to be seen as a hoe.
Right.
Even when you have children with different men, the first thing guys will do is be like, oh, she a hoe. And it could be that you was married and had a kid, got divorced, dated someone 5 years later, had a kid, you don't fuck with them no more.
Right.
And then you got married again 5 years later. So all three of your kids have different fathers. That makes you a hoe. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I want to give power back to ourselves as women, because men define hoe all willy-nilly. It's whatever I don't like about you, you a hoe.
That's it.
It doesn't, there's no rhyme or no reason to it. You could not be having sex. You could be a virgin, but they don't like how you dress. So you a hoe.
Yep.
You could have your hair short like mine. You can have these long nails. Only hoes do that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or listening to music or supporting people like Cardi B. Oh, you only do that because you a hoe too. Like, it's anything I don't like that you're doing as a woman, I'm gonna call you a hoe.
Yep.
And then women internalize this misogyny and misogynoir, and we do it to each other.
Yep.
Like, oh, she doing that because even with the twerking. Listen, if you look into tribal dancing, any tribal dancing, right? From areas of like the Caribbean, excuse me, and Africa and South America and Central America, this is nothing sexual to do with, it's dancing. But if you dance like that, you a hoe. It's like, I breathe, so I'm a hoe.
Right.
So guess what? Since hoe is life. If you gonna call me a hoe for literally everything that I do,
right?
Yes, hoe is life.
Hoe is life.
And that's where it comes from. I mean, this is our last episode about sex, and it was a little more serious than our other ones, but I feel like we are able to have this whole sex series because whoever is out here listening, you can't tell me what to do with my body.
No, not at all.
And you should shut the fuck up trying to tell other people what to do with theirs. Why don't you worry about your little funky ass body?
Worry about yourself.
Right. Worry about your whole activities, whether you have them or not.
Right.
And mind your business.
Yeah. I feel like some people don't have no business, and I need you to go get some business. So that you can stay out of mine and everybody else's. If you had your own, you wouldn't be worried about nobody else. So,
and this is the last thing I have to say about Ho's life is women, please check your internalized misogyny.
yeah,
Please, because that's the only reason you would ever call another woman a hoe.
yeah,
And it be a negative thing
right.
to it. Like, and don't get me wrong, I have called other women hoes. This has been more jokingly, like, shut up, hoe.
I usually do it when I get road rage. This hoe. Get
Wait,
your hoe ass off the street. Yeah.
It isn't attached to shame.
Not at all.
It's kind of like nigga meaning 5 million different things. Or bitch. Meaning, like bitch. When I'm talking right. Same with curse words, right?
Right.
Fuck could mean 10 million different things. So we are talking about, do not negatively attach the word hoe to anybody.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
No.
Negatively in terms of relating to, like, you're making this about something sexual related to a woman, or just you see them as being less than you.
Correct.
And that's why you're using that word.
Correct.
Check yourself.
Yes.
We are done with the sex series.
Yeah.
It's been great.
It's been fun.
Our next series is a little more serious. We might be laughing a whole lot less, but it's still our relationship with something that is important in the world. Yes. And that's what Outside Voice Inside is about. Yes. Us using our outside voice inside about things that are important to us. So yes, stay tuned and come back next week. Bye, y'all. Bye.